adolescence left me in a pretty interesting spot, to say the least. I think I think my adolescence was okay, bad at some points. I definitely had some fun. That's the reason why I'm still here. But I'm bringing it up. I bring up the fact that my adolescence left me in a weird spot because I've been, and there's no sugarcoating it. I kind of like, the nice way to put it is that I have dopamine issues. But I think the more realistic way to look at it is that I have a substance abuse issue, or nothing crazy. I've never been like kicked out of school, or I never lost my job or decided to not to show up to my job at any given point because of like addiction, or just I'm fine in most cases. I'm fine in basically all cases. It's more I love to always describe this, 'cause I think, or not describe this. I love to always talk about this, or this concept. I feel like has followed me around to many different zones in my life, which is I'm like right in the middle. I'm right in the middle between like, super lesser and way too good. Like I feel like I I went to like this like stick up the ass boarding school for high school because I am smart. So like I'm smarter than average, but in comparison to the smart kids, I'm not that smart. And I think same with like because I have issues with alcohol. In comparison to the average person, I'm 100% an alcoholic. But in terms of the alcoholics, I'm a baby. Like some people drink, and I feel like I drink. I feel like I drink good. I drink heavy. I drink consistently. But no, there's some people who really take it a lot farther than I can, both in terms of how much they drink in a night and, how much consequence they can cause to their life moving forward from, their actions because of their addiction. And I don't really have that. I have like a very fond liking of drugs to the point of what would I say, to the point of, I guess, like slightly messing with me, I guess, or like slightly messing with my relationships, in which that's more just because I feel like I just kind of shift through moods a lot, which kind of makes sense. I have been diagnosed as bipolar, but I feel like, because I never feel like I don't think I haven't done anything to, severely damage my reputation or my financial status or employment, nothing like that. But I feel like a lot of my friends, in fact damn near every single person that does know me, and probably a couple more, because I know at least one old friend would constantly use me as like a talking point to like say like, oh, I'm gonna get fucked up, which puts me on my back, but we're not gonna talk about that. But everyone that knows me basically knows that I have a drinking problem. I have a drinking problem. I like to drink. I like to drink heavily, and it kind of gets left there though. As mentioned again, like I've never even like burnt any like bridges, or like I never have like a relationship kind of fall apart and crumble simply because like I'm drinking too much, or actions I've done while drinking. It's more, everyone's just kind of uneasy because I'm just drunk 24/7. There's some people who know me for months and never heard me in a sober state for those like 4, 5, 6 months, because I can drink every day, and sometimes I would drink in the mornings, in the afternoons, and definitely at night, shit like that. To wrap this all back to what I was saying in the beginning is all these problems started in my adolescence. I feel like I might have talked about this in one of my older podcast episodes. I can't remember, but I'm just gonna always just go straight from the start here, which is because I think this is a very it's weird for me to come out this way, because I remember when I was way younger, like, yeah, up until freshman year of high school. So when I was 13, I like demonized drinking and alcohol and drugs and all of that. And not because I'm like some good, like, Christian, Catholic, God-fearing male or anything like that. No, I remember demonizing it just because I would see, what it did to the people around me. I thought it was, I still think it's terrifying the way that it messes with certain people's lives and their perceptions. And I am still, despite everything, I am a firm believer that drunken actions are sober thoughts. To an extent. Some people really just like get off the deep end, but I guess that's also the main point. It's like, even if they're sober, or when they're sober, they're good enough to not do it, but when they get drunk, maybe that's when they decide, when they lose the inhibitors in their brains that stops them from doing some pretty heinous shit. So I remember just always growing up being like, I don't understand why people, at least drink in particular, because when I was 13, that's 2016. So yeah, this is like before vaping. Yeah, completely way before vaping. I thought cigarettes were stupid just because it smells so fucking bad, and I barely didn't know about weed and all other substances. I just like really didn't think about it. It was alcohol was the main thing. But that freshman year of high school was when I like, the nice way to put it is that I challenged my perception on alcohol, and the true way to actually look at it was that's when I started drinking. I remember stealing Tito's vodka. It was Tito's vodka, and I would mix it in with flat root beer. Taste it. Actually, it wasn't really the worst, but that's a questionable combo. That's very much a questionable combo. But I remember I kept stealing alcohol from my parents because no one was like home, basically, or not home when I was doing it. I guess that's a better way to look at it. And I remember the first time I did it. I think it was like November of 2016. I remember because I'm a kid. In like next to no alcohol experience at that point. I don't know what portions are, and I don't understand APV and all this. All I know is that I opened the bottle and it smells like hand sanitizer, and I know that it's stronger than beer or wine. But I just remember I grabbed like a cup, probably like a standard kitchen cup. I'm not even gonna bother with trying to find a picture of it, but I remember grabbing a cup, filling it halfway with root beer, halfway with vodka, and I think I drank it in like 2-3 swigs over the course of like 30 minutes, an hour. And now that I think about it, I guess, yeah, no, I think that's right. I don't think I'm exaggerating on that. Because I just remember sitting in my chair, in my room. It was like a net chair, like the type of shit you would find in like somebody's like college dorm room. I love that chair. I don't know what happened to it. I think I broke it, or somebody broke it, or it got lost. I don't know. I remember just sitting in that chair, just like drunk out of my ass, watching Russian Badger videos, Russian Badger Rainbow Six videos, and sitting there, and I was just giggling, enjoying myself, and I realized like, shit, like, so this is why people drink, because I'm not, weighed down by my anxiety and these racing thoughts and fears of the future and fears of the present, and like I'm literally just chilling. I'm feeling great, and like everything feels enhanced. And that's at least my experience with alcohol, which has been consistent for the last decade now. And that's how I've always felt on alcohol, which is why I especially have been having so many issues with trying to quit it, or to at the very least, like, calm down on how much I do drink on a day-to-day basis, or week-to-week basis, or month-to-month basis. And I mean, luckily, or I was like given a chance, right? I was given a chance here because I was stealing it for like the entire like second semester of freshman year, so like first half of 2017, and then at some point, I think in the summer, my mom finally caught me stealing some of her liquor, and she talked to me about it. And I mean, because originally I was gonna get like in massive trouble, because not only is it stealing, but my mom hates a stealer and she hates a liar, and stealing is also a form of lying. So it's like it's a double negative in her world. But that was a very that was one of the worst years for like all of us for a multitude of reasons. So I kind of got off because she kind of realized like I was stealing more from like, not for like for fun, like, you know, I'm not drinking and like, you know, going partying and everything. Like I'm more drinking to like self-manage like my own depression, basically, at 13, close to 14 years old. Crazy. But you know, I got a chance after that because I also went to boarding school, and with going to boarding school, I didn't really have drugs again. So I kind of just had to, you know, deal with all that shit on my own. But oh wait, no, I remember. Excuse me. How did I forget? No, I still found drugs because the alcohol kickstarted me trying to like basically being willing to try anything, or like just looking into a bunch of different things and trying to see like, what's the next way I can kind of like, I wanted to feel that again. Basically, I wanted to feel that. I realized that I enjoyed being out of my skin because it was the closest thing to not being me, basically not being me, not feeling like me. That's why I loved it. That's why I love it. It's still to this day, because I still have issues. I'm getting better, but you know, I still have some issues. Sometimes it is very fun to just, you know, take off your own skin. So sophomore year of high school, I think I was abusing NyQuil and Robitussin, and I kept trying to abuse like over-the-counter painkillers for some reason. I don't remember why or where I got that idea. I think I was just trying to look cool. It's just not cool. It's just so not cool at all. And then junior year is when like vaping finally like hit. This is like what, 2018 to 2019? Yeah. I remember, so I started getting into vaping heavily. I used to have a Soren. Ooh, Soren Air. I used to keep it in my wallet, literally. That's when I started getting into vaping. That's when I started smoking weed. That's when I started taking acid. I was still abusing NyQuil and Robitussin. I had some friends who were able to sneak me alcohol on campus every now and then. So then I had alcohol. And I think that was the year I also tried Adderall, which I'll get back to in a second. And I forgot, sophomore year, I also tried some antidepressants. I had a friend who had like, I think 3 different types of like antidepressants. He gave me like, and he just gave them to me. It's like 5 or 10 pills because he didn't want them for whatever reason. So I don't even know what I took, but I think that's also how I learned, like, guaranteed that I have some form of chemical depression. Because I think they were supposed to be like more like fast acting pills or something like that. Because, you know, with some antidepressants, you have to take it consistently over the course of like, say, a month, and then it kicks in. I think these were supposed to be a little faster. I don't know what I took, but I just remember taking them, not feeling any different, but feeling like slightly happier. And my room, a friend of mine at the time, he also took some of them with me, and he kind of felt like out of the loop a little bit. So, you know, maybe that speaks to something. Is there any other drugs I'm missing? Because then senior year came around, and I remember I tried a really weird version of DMT, which barely worked and basically didn't. Am I missing anything? No, that sounds about right. That sounds about right for all the drugs. And then once I graduated from high school at 16, don't ask. After that, I remember I came home from high school because COVID baby, right? COVID baby. But I had like, I think I came home from high school with like 200 tabs of acid or something like that. I had like, 2 sheets. I had 2 sheets and a 10. And then, so I was taking that periodically while just chilling at home through like 2020 to like, I think I got rid of them in 2021. So I didn't store them properly, so a lot of them went bad. I got that confirmed by another friend who wanted some. So I just like, all right, I just have to cut the loss here, and I threw them out. But yeah, 2020, 2021 was just like acid, a little bit of weed, and then like a couple drinks. Yeah, and then 2021 moving forward, just drinking. And like I smoke weed every now and then, or take like an edible, but my main thing has just been drinking, which means that, you know, at the beautiful and totally ripe age of 22, I've been drinking for a decade, and by proxy, or drinking for close to a decade, and by proxy, have been having like some sort of substance usage / substance abuse issues for the last decade too. Which, you know, when I was 13, I felt like 22 was old. Now that I'm 22 and people pass me, I'm still like, you know, pretty young in the grand scheme of things. So this is a pretty shit fucking you know, step on my ladder. You know, that's not good for my foundation. That's really not good for my foundations, because now on, you know, with the decade of substance usage, you know, there's just so many things that also go around where people talk about like dopamine, like, you know, dopamine receptors are like being fried at like insane rates nowadays. Like I mentioned in, I think, anticipation or distance, I mentioned I use social media too much, and that's also, you know, that's a thing that I feel like I have been addicted to, or decently addicted to. My screen time is kind of crazy on certain days. Sometimes it gets up to like, I'll average like 6-7 hours of Instagram a day or some shit, which is really just doom scrolling like while doing other things. I don't think it's 6-7 hours of actually like meaningfully, quote unquote, viewing whatever it is on my phone. But I mean, there's social media, there's, you know, all these different drugs, and, you know, truthfully, adult content as well. That's a hole I fell into while still being in high school and stuff like that. Like, my dopamine receptors are just fucked. They're absolutely fucked. Alongside, you know, I think in general, like, not even, or I'm sure my habits and what I've done and been up to for the last decade has definitely made things, exacerbated the issue a bit. But on top of it, because I wanted to come back to the whole thing with taking Adderall in high school, is that I realized that I might have, I don't think it's ADHD, I think I have ADD, because I was also talking to my partner about this yesterday, and like just talking to them about the differences between ADHD and ADD, because they have ADHD, in which I realized like, you know, it's possible. This reminds me again that I was planning to get all of my psychiatrist stuff handled, because I want to move forward with trying to see if I get diagnosed with ADD, because if that's the case, like, I think I would like to get treated for it so I can actually do things. Oh my god, fucking mucus. Yeah, I think it would be nice to be treated for it. Yeah. Because I remember when I took Adderall in high school, I took it to cram for a final, which I got a 97 on, but no. Oh, no. Excuse me. That I took Adderall to cram for a final, and I still failed that final and failed that class. But the one section that I was like studying the most, aced it basically. So it worked. It worked very well. I remember taking the Adderall, and I was like, you know, completely fucking dialed in to the point where I almost forgot to like piss, basically. And I keep talking to people about this and I can't fully remember. I feel like this has been like kind of like agreed upon as like a somewhat of a consensus for the idea of like, if you take ADHD medication and you do have ADHD, then like it kind of helps you like focus. But if you don't have ADHD, then like I don't remember what it really does, because I know there's like people who like love to take like Adderall for as some sort of like party drug or something like that, or like, you know, take Adderall for like fun purposes. So I can't remember the differences, but I just remember feeling pretty damn locked in and motivated to do a fuck ton of things on Adderall. So no, that's why I gotta talk to a psych about. I gotta figure out if my pattern history actually aligns with ADD or ADHD symptoms, and then see we're gonna move forward with that, because I want to get treated for that. I would like to get treated for that so I can actually do things, because, you know, not only I don't need both depression or, you know, the threat of depression and some sort of like attention deficit disorder both fucking up my will to do shit. Like I want to do shit. It's boring to sit around on my phone and just, you know, basically like drool on myself. I don't want to do that. I want to do something. Even it doesn't even have to be productive. I just want to stop using my fucking phone. Oh my god, I just do not want to use my phone. I'm so fucking tired of using my phone, or just like scrolling through Instagram mindlessly. Like, do you know how mind-numbing it is to like I've had so many moments where like I'll get up and start walking to the bathroom and then realize I left my phone in like my room. So I'll walk back, go get my phone, and then walk back to the bathroom just to stand there and take a piss with my phone in hand, scrolling through Instagram while pissing, and then just go right back to my computer and do whatever I was doing. Like, I shouldn't need Instagram to take a fucking piss. Like, fuck, man. Fuck. This just pissing me. This just pissing me off just thinking about it, man. Holy fuck. So I gotta I'm working on it. I mean, I imagine there's holistic measures I can take to address that, you know, attention deficit issue. You know, like just putting my phone away in the first place. I have deleted Instagram and other social medias off of my phone, and I feel like that did me a decent enough service for some time. And like, you know, just kind of trying to fully getting like mentally telling myself I need to just focus on whatever I'm doing, and it works a little bit. But, you know, in a long term, you know, say, or not even a long term, but like say 2-3 weeks out from now or from then, I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna re-download Instagram, and then on top of it, once I come back to Instagram, I'm gonna like really fucking brain rot for that first week that I have it back on my phone, just because I'm like, oh man, it feels so good to finally do nothing. It's like a double or nothing. So, ugh. Anyway, on topic with dopamine receptors being fried and wanting to fix it and everything, and especially alcohol again. Alcohol, my Lucy. The problem with like the current stage of life that I'm at right now, because especially if you've been around me, if you have known me or know me for at least the last 3 years, especially while streaming, I mentioned constant, because every stream I was drunk for, you know, that's not a secret, but I mentioned consistently that I wanted to be sober, or, you know, I wanted to be on antidepressants. I wanted to be on antidepressants at the very least for the last like 2-3 years, and I finally got them this year. I'm happy with it. But you know, I still drink, so they don't work the best sometimes. Sometimes I have spurs of sobriety, and sometimes I have spurs of binge drinking. Like, I think I've been sober for the last 2 going on 3 days right now, but I'm only like really pushing for a good sobriety stint because I just drank a half gallon of Jack and a box of wine in like 6 days or something like that, which is a little insane, you know, a little insane. to drink that amount of liquor in less than a calendar week. So I'm like, okay, I need to relax, because especially throughout that time period, I think last like 4 or 5 days of that like aggressive binge, I forgot to take my meds. So, in which I still feel fine, but because, you know, it's one of the meds where I had to take them for at least 30 days to like really start to feel effects. I've been on the medication for the last 4 months. Yeah, 4 months. So, you know, not taking them for like 4 days is not gonna ruin it. But, you know, not taking them for 4 days and drinking a bunch of stuff, like I was starting to head down the path of, like, you know, making all that progress and all that work, like, you know, kind of ineffective. So I'm like working through, you know, trying to quit it again, or at least take a break, because my problem is, and this sounds so fucking terrible to say, but I hate sobriety, or actually fucking Chief Keef play, I hate being sober. Sobriety is it's a tricky game. It's a tricky game for me, because I've spent the last decade essentially chasing highs and trying to not feel like myself or not remember things, and, you know, especially, you know, those being my teenage years and everything, those are formative years. Like this shit is ingrained in me. It's ingrained in me, and my dopamine receptors have definitely felt the blowback from it as well. Another problem with it is the fact that I enjoy it. I think, you know, people who abuse, like, say, deliriums, like Benadryl, for example, abusing Benadryl and stuff like that. I don't really know what makes people keep taking them. I assume it has to be some sort of like chemical drawback, like chemical addiction, some sort of like withdrawal. Because I don't really know how you can enjoy deliriums per se, but like, especially for alcohol, but with every substance I've taken, like, I truly have enjoyed myself, like damn near every time I take it, and more often than not. I'm not an angry drunk. I'm a very happy, very like kind of mellowed out or hyper, depending on the mood, type of drunk. Like, I'm like I feel good, I feel fine. It just feels like who I am if I didn't have, like, you know, 20 levels of anxiety and 5 levels of insecurities. You know, say weed is just a good way to just basically melt and relax. So I enjoyed weed. Acid made me feel like a child again, which I really enjoyed, because I've repressed a lot of my childhood. I guess I didn't really enjoy NyQuil too much, but I mean, it just made me really tired, and, you know, kind of numbed me in the head. So, I mean, I guess that worked. Like, you know, the idea of either not having to remember or actually having fun with the substance, or usually a mixture of both, makes it really hard for me to idealize the idea of sobriety, because I feel like I'm just giving up something that quote unquote works for me, you know. Now, it's still a slippery slope. You know, if I keep drinking the way I'm drinking, I'll definitely die soon, or, you know, give me like 10 years if I'm lucky. You know, if I keep drinking at this rate, I really don't think I'm gonna make it too far, or, you know, I'm gonna feel it at some point. You know, my liver can't be this strong forever, because my liver is strong as fuck, but it can't be this strong forever. I know that. And on top of it, if I allow myself to keep wanting to chase highs, I'm going to fall down into some pretty dark areas of life if I don't get that addressed soon. You know, what did I say with like gateway drugs and D.A.R.E program? Yeah, gateway drug. You know, and I've been fortunate enough to never have really gone down that road and like taken harder substances. You know, I've taken other people's, like, you know, prescribed medications, Adderall and Xanax, or Adderall and some forms of antidepressants, but I've never I've never snorted anything. I've never injected anything. Uh, you know, meth, like, and I guess because like Adderall is like a form of, is like in the same like category, but like, no meth, no cocaine. Uh, yeah, that's crazy. I'm like can't remember a lot of drugs, but like I just haven't done too much. I've never, shit. I'm afraid of snorting or injecting things, which I guess is like the one thing I have going for me, because I definitely knew people who were doing drugs of all sorts of categories. If I wanted to do it, I could have. I just don't. I just don't want to. Yeah, again, I'm scared of that shit. But it's only a matter if I allow myself to keep one and like chase these highs as much as I feel like I want to chase the highs at times. I'm definitely gonna end up like oh, I don't want to snort coke, but I'll drink it because you can do that. And I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to do that either. I'm really not trying to do that either. So, my options are, do I want to find a balanced way to enjoy alcohol, or should I just be sober, basically entirely, in which I think I would love to be sober if I can get my brain to agree with me. Because if it seems like the compromise I'm going to have to make is, having a drink every now and then, or having like a designated day where I can get fucked up or something like that, just so I don't, slingshot myself to like even worse depths if I deprive my brain of what it wants. Because that's what I do, honestly fear. I don't think it get to that point. I hope it doesn't. I will find a way to make sure that it doesn't get to that point. And I'm also playing around. This is another reason why I'm like very excited with trying to get all this psychiatrist stuff working out, because I'm hoping that these disorders or whatever that I have, the things that is hindering me in certain parts of my life, if I can get that checked out, maybe, just maybe, I can just stop taking or stop drinking, because drinking is my main concern. I don't really do anything else nowadays. It's just drinking. So, I'm on sertraline that's supposed to help with my depression and my anxiety. I still feel decently anxious, so I might swap off, but for the most part, this drug sertraline's been doing me great. And then I want to get treated for if I have ADD or ADHD, and that should help me focus, help me work. Last time I've taken any form of like ADD medication, I think I watched my screen time go down from like 6 hours to like 1, and I feel like it was like probably one of the most productive days of like the last 2 years for me. So I think that's a sign. It's like, maybe I should look into it just a little bit. It's so hard to make good decisions. It's so fucking hard to make good decisions, because all I want to do is, no, that's a lie. I don't always, and not everything I want to do is a bad decision, but sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to fuck around until you find out. Then it's no longer fun. I should probably call my psychiatrist. So I'm gonna go handle that, and I have a moment here to say, like, if I wanted to give any piece of advice as a 22-year-old decade-long alcoholic, what would my advice be? I would say, honestly, truly confide in your friends with what's going on if you feel like you have some sort of issue. And if you don't have anyone in your life that you feel like you can confide in, then I would look into different services. Put your pride aside and join just go to a couple of meetings of like AA, see what that's about. Find online groups. You have to figure. I think the first way, it's problem solving, right? problem analysis. The first way to start dealing with substance issues is by identifying what it is that is keeping you, hooked on to whatever substance it is. So if you can identify why you're taking it so much, what you're looking for, then you can, take the steps moving forward to fill that void. And once you fill the void, hopefully you can get rid of whatever it is that you might feel like you're stuck on, or maybe someone close to you that is stuck on something. Be there for the people around you, and who knows what will come from it.